Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K Now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Edmund, your host for the next 2 hours, along with Mike.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Nick is here.
Hi.
Hi. Gal should join us shortly, and Spence is in the air on the way back. He'll arrive sometime today. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software, Telestream's Wirecast software, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. Mike, you want to welcome the people from Wilmington? Mike?
I would if we were on the air.
Oh. Okay. Well, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and do your thing. It's last week there was one thing that I was going to mention that I never got around to. Put Nick over there. Microsoft latest cumulative update, the one that ends with 2941 KB for Windows 10. Maybe it's 1903. That's the update, 1903. Maybe Microsoft buggiest yet. With the update already known for being plagued with high CPU usage bugs and crippled search. Now, reports of a new bug are filtering in, with users reporting that their screenshots all have an orange tint, no matter which method or app they use to take them. The issue appears to be related to older video drivers, as updating drivers or uninstalling the 2941 that update appears to fix this problem. Microsoft has told Forbes that the spike in CPU usage only occurs on devices that have disabled searching the web using Windows desktop search, and that they're planning to release a fix for this update bug in mid-September. So I guess the update maybe come out, but I mean, over here, I have not seen anything about tint. I definitely don't update the video drivers every time they come out.
I had to pause my. I mentioned that I had to pause my updates
Because
because of sound drivers.
Oh,
And every hour it kept popping
yeah.
up and saying, "We're going to do your update. We're going to do your update. We're going to do your update." I said, "No." So I paused it, and to deal with that. Maybe I'll deal with that this week.
You know, I don't know in Windows 10 if you can do it, but in Windows 7, you could go to the updates and say, hide this one. Can you do that in 10?
Well, yeah, but I want to do the update. That's
Yeah.
the point.
Well, you
So-
can go later and say, okay, show me
Well,
the
that's why I
hidden-
paused it. And I
Okay.
think I paused it for 30 days.
Oh, okay, so that's the same.
So I'll try to scoot around with it this week. It's very frustrating though.
It is. And it's a known problem. I mean, a lot of people are having that kind of problem with updates with Windows. I mean, it seems like everything we heard And the last couple of years about Windows updates was all negative stuff. That
Yeah,
it screws this
because
and screws.
nobody comments and says, "Wow, that Windows update was great."
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Why would you do that?
I like the new update. I have it on my laptop. They changed how the start button looks in Axe. It looks more like Windows 7. I really like it.
So I guess this machine is not doing updates because mine is still the same.
Yeah, I don't know if
Hmm.
it's maybe a theme or something. I don't know, but it looks a lot different. It's gray now instead of what color is it? It was black
Th-
before, like more of a
yeah, it
black.
was
Now
just black and white. It was white
it's more of
windows.
like an opaque gray color, and it's got a lot more options on it, I think. Yeah.
Hmm. They're trying. They're not, and they're not doing these things maliciously, or I think it's more compatibility with a bunch of different setups. I mean, almost everybody in the world has different video card, different sound card, different this, different that, and you can't satisfy everybody with the same update. So sometimes there are problems. Yeah,
Yeah, you got
yeah. No, it's true. I mean,
100 million users.
yep, yeah. This morning there was an update to Skype, and I say, well, maybe they fixed the problem. No.
Hmm. I have an issue with Skype on my phone, so I'm running a I just, um I upgraded to iOS 13,
Hmm.
which was, what they announced at, uh, I don't know what their event
Yeah,
was
that
called, 2 weeks ago.
right.
Um, and, I'll tell you what, man, iOS 13 is really nice. They've got a dark mode now, which they've never had before, and it makes most of the well, yeah, like, a lot of programs have a dark mode. It's instead of the
Instead of white.
background being white with black text, the background is either a black or a gray with
Mhm.
white text, and I'm running that, and,
Yeah,
like,
it's also easier to read at night.
yeah, I mean, so, like, this is what the text messages look like now instead of them being white on black, which is good. It's not everything. It changes some of the like, here's the settings menu, that's black now.
Mhm.
Um, the folders are black instead of white. And, yeah, so I'm running iOS 13 now. It runs pretty well. But there's an issue with Skype with it. I can't send any videos and or pictures. It sends some weird attachment. I don't know what's up with that.
I thought I read that there's already a 13.1 for it.
Well, yeah, but this is an issue with Skype, I think.
Oh,
And I updated Skype and it still doesn't work. So I'm sure it will get fixed.
yeah, they will. Let's see what else we have here. Um, cyber attacks. Cyber attacks are now considered by most execs to be the top business concern, far outranking economic uncertainty. Can you imagine worry about cyber attacks more than how are we going to survive in this economy or not?
Hey, man.
Or brand damage and regulation, according to a survey by insurance consultancy Marsh and tech giant Microsoft. The global survey of over 1,500 businesses illustrates the rapid change in business leaders' perceived risks to their organizations and shows that having a cyber insurance policy is now more common than 2 years ago. In 2017, Marsh and Microsoft found that 62% of respondents saw cyber attacks as a top 5 risk, whereas this year, 79 do. The share of respondents who see cyber attacks as a number one risk has also risen from 6% to 22% over 2 years. This year, the second most widely considered top 5 risk is economic uncertainty, followed by brand damage, followed by regulation, and followed by loss of key personnel. According to the survey, 47% of organizations have cyber insurance, up from 34 in 2017. Additionally, 57% of large firms with annual revenues of over 1 billion report having cyber insurance, compared with 36 of organizations with revenues below 100 million. But nearly all respondents, totaling 89%, are confident that their cyber insurance policy would cover the cost of a cyber event. I mean, we heard about a bunch of them this past year. Ransomware on companies and organizations. That this is a new thing for insurance companies. Cyber attack insurance.
Yeah.
They're worried. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
They're worried about it, and they're worried about it for a good reason. My question is, did anybody ask them? At this point, do you guys do anything about it? Are you putting any plans other than insurance? I mean, insurance is like let's forget about how our network is. If something happens, they'll pay. No. You still want to do things on your network, on your whole organization, to educate people, to put some plan in motion that will prevent it from happening. But there's nothing about it in any kind of a survey if they do this. Maybe they don't know. I would like to think that the IT department of big companies, they all have an IT department, that they are doing it because they don't want to lose their job. But it's interesting. Cyber insurance, cyber attack insurance. So what were you going to say?
Al was asking when iOS 13 actually comes out. It's out now. So you can go to your iPhone and download it.
Good morning.
Oh, hey, Gong.
Good morning.
Hey.
Oh, you look like you're on a webcam on a desktop.
Yep, but still something too dark. My setup's probably changed. I'll figure that out later.
So you're on a desktop now.
I've installed Windows 10 vanilla, not through my whole ordeal. Yeah, apparently the problem in my case is my hardware. The motherboard isn't new enough to allow the shenanigans I wanted to go through. Yeah, even though it's very good hardware. It's not custom build. It's a Dell Alienware, and they didn't design it to work that well with KVM and what's called the IOMMU, which is the whole pass-through virtualization. However, I do have everything scripted, so the moment I have a machine that will work, the installation takes about 10 minutes. It took me 2 weeks to get to this point. But yeah, I was defeated.
You need a newer motherboard?
I need a different system, yeah. So when it'll be time to upgrade, that's when I'll play with it again.
Well, there you go.
Yep. You probably won't want to use another machine like the ones for the servers.
No, it needs to be like new state-of-the-art stuff, because the way this is a gaming machine, right?
Oh yeah,
Shai,
okay, never mind.
Yeah, Shai, my son, he plays a lot of games. So this whole, if I wasn't playing any games, I could have still done it, because the performance of the VM over in a machine like this would be excellent. It's not a problem. What I need is direct access to the hardware, the gaming hardware, while the VM, the Windows VM, is running. And that's what I couldn't do with this setup. So I need a newer machine which is designed for PCI Express path isolation, a lot of geeky stuff, a lot of the nerdy stuff that needs to be correctly aligned in order for everything to work properly. There's a reason there's no just a next wizard that does it for you. It's still very raw technology. That should you have everything set up correctly, you might be able to set it up to work. But we're not there yet.
You'll get there. It's fine.
Oh yeah, no, I got there. I mean, I learned a lot through this process, right? It wasn't a complete waste. It was just a week and a half that I couldn't install anything. And I now understand the way Linux works a lot better than when I started. The configuration with the kernel, I got a system which I can install basically any Linux system. It'll be fully backed up. It'll be on the copy on write file system, the ZFS. All of that is set up in such a way that I can recreate the system again and again and again. So for the servers I have, definitely use this system. This installation scripts that I wrote that will make it easy for me. But yeah.
So it's because of the gaming.
For the desktop, I'm still delaying making it a primary Linux system with Windows a guest. So Windows will be the primary, and if I want to play with Linux, it'll be inside a VM.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Interesting bit of information. According to the Wall Street Journal, AT&T is exploring parting with its DirecTV unit as customers are leaving the service in droves. So they're trying to drop it. It's still available on their website.
Well,
they own it.
Yeah, I don't think they can make away with it, but they do need to find counter products, right?
Yeah.
It's clear why the people are leaving. The technology and the way packaging works is, with the bandwidth available today and at the prices available today, cord cutting makes a lot more sense.
Yep.
But as we said, cord cutting has its issues, right? The fragmentation and everything. Plex, the server that is built for cord cutting and managing your own media and making it available everywhere you are, even outside of the home, they now are in discussions with two content providers, not providers, creators, with Warner Brothers, and there was another one announced this week. I'll find it in a moment. And these studios, they're talking about with providing ad-backed content through the Plex environment. So you can run your own media and stream your own media through a server that you install, which is free. And you will be able, just by registering an account and even not installing the server, you will be able to view web-based ad backed content, movies
Yeah.
and series by
It's
these.
it needs to come to a point where there is an easy way for a layman to install this in their house. Right now, it takes a geek.
With
For the
Plex,
server.
I disagree.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
the
for-
server, for Plex, to install
Ma-
Plex and manage
Maybe
it.
for the server. By the way, I'm on Windows. It's very simple.
It's an
and-
exe, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you're just installing it is not everything. I mean, you have to go and
On Linux, it's a pain to install, but on Windows, so for example, Amnon, if you had a computer, if you had a computer next to your, I know most people don't have this. If you had a computer next to your TV,
right.
you would, on running Windows, you would install the Plex server,
Mm-hmm.
which is just a regular program,
Yeah.
and then it's very easy. Installing it on Linux, agreed, is
But
people
then
aren't gonna
is
do
it
that.
how easy it is for a normal person that's not highly tech to configure it?
There's no
Oh.
configuration.
No, nothing. You just show it where the media
Yeah.
files are.
Mhm.
It does
Plex
all the
is
work
super
on its
easy.
own.
So but you do
Let's put it this way, okay? You have a folder on your PC,
right.
Windows machine, right? Simplest thing. You have a folder on your PC with a bunch of videos you want to watch in your living room TV.
Oh no, you see, you're already way ahead of what I'm talking about. I'm talking about here's somebody that's just on Spectrum TV. That's all they have. They hear cord cutting,
Right.
cord cutting, cord cutting.
Right.
They don't
So-
have anything on their drive. They don't have anything in a folder, no videos, nothing. They say, okay, I want to cut off from the world and I want to be able to watch some of my favorite shows and favorite shows without having to pay Spectrum for TV service.
Right. So
Now-
Plex for now is not the solution. Plex is for anyone who has home media, home videos, or a copy of their DVD or Blu-ray on their machine, but they want to watch it not only on their PC, but they want to watch it also on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So instead
Okay.
of running wires and all of that, you install Plex, tell it where the media is, and then you go to your TV, which today, most of them, even the very cheap one, have a Plex app on them,
Mhm.
right? And you just log in there, which is a simple process. You don't even need to type in the username and password. There's like a linking process that it tells you, it guides you through, and you just start playing your media. But what will change is that they're going to also have some content on that TV application that has nothing to do with your server. And that's what's going to change.
Okay, so that will give somebody at
Right.
least those two outlets that they can
Right, so-
watch in content from.
Right. But
Right,
that's
okay.
that's the future.
That's
They're
in the
talking about the end of the year. They're talking about probably they're trying to get that done for Christmas or something. Okay, because they're talking about December. Now, if you want to do it today, your best solution is either a Roku box, an Apple TV box, or an Amazon stick. And the cheaper would be the Amazon stick. That's the options today.
Mhm.
Because when you plug in the Amazon stick, you get, first of all, if you're already registered to Amazon Prime, then you get a slew of videos available immediately. TV shows, movies, a whole bunch. And it's already paid for by your Amazon Prime. So
Mhm.
if you have Amazon Prime, definitely go with the Amazon stick, and you're just dipping your toe in this whole idea of cord cutting. It is very easy, very simple to set up, very convenient, and truthfully said, it's very effective, very effective. The others are Apple and Roku. I don't have an experience with Apple because I'm not an Apple household, but the Roku has similar features. It's less. I think it has less free content and more access to other services that you need to register to, but there's some.
Mhm.
So definitely that. Amazon also has something they call, Amazon owns IMDb, and they came up with a service of that they call the IMDb free drive. I think they changed the name again, but the idea is you get to see a lot of classic movies with ads in them, and that's for free as well. That's on the Fire TV. So there's very simple options of just unhooking and still getting content. No, you will not get the content you used to get by watching a cable box. That doesn't exist yet, not for free.
Okay.
Well, let's just make sure that when we say free, we also include a one-time payment. But but subscription-wise, there's a lot of options, right?
So the Plex server will allow you to add content to it as you go. You do need a big drive, a large drive, not big in size, but large
You need to store your media.
to store. And as you get more media, you add it there and then you can watch it later. It's sort of like your DVR, so to speak, on when you have with the TV, and you can go back and say, "Oh, let me watch this."
Well, it's sort of the DVR interface after you've recorded.
Yeah, after you
By
record.
the way, it does have a DVR feature of its own. That requires to be a bit more geeky because you need to set up a tuner that Plex connects to it. And you need either a TV subscription or you do it off the air, right?
Mhm.
There's still a lot of content free on off the air, and you can record it with Plex and a TV tuner box. That setup is a bit more complex. That's true, not very complex, but it requires intentions. It requires planning, right? It's not like something you would wing it on an existing machine, because you do want that machine to be available at
All the
any time to
Yeah.
record whatever you want to record. So it changes your relationship with the computer hosting it. It's no longer just a simple service you're running on Windows and that's it. So yeah.
Nick, you installed, you cut the cord and you used.
I moved away from home and didn't sign up for cable. Yeah.
and you had a bunch. I mean, you watched sports. You had that. Then you subscribed to that
Hulu TV. Yeah.
the other one.
Yeah. But yeah, Hulu TV.
What was the one that Gal was telling us about? No,
No, I never subscribed to that one, but I did use Hulu. I did try Hulu TV.
and
It was expensive, man. It was freaking $25-$30 a month or something like that for
wow.
30 channels.
Katie was here last night, and she said that she subscribed to
Sling.
no
There's a few. There's
Apple
Sling.
TV. Apple TV.
For live TV. No.
Something that's
There's YouTube TV. There's
no.
Sling,
It was one of the new
there's
ones. Either
Sony View.
I think it was Apple.
Yeah, but Apple doesn't have a live TV service.
Not yet.
Right, but she subscribed for 3 years, and it turns out to be $4 a month.
Yeah, but what did she?
Oh
subscribe?
no! Sorry, Disney.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Disney
It's
Plus.
not. Is that out yet?
It's out apparently,
Oh,
or
okay.
maybe it's pre, and that's
Pre-bid,
why it's
yeah.
supposed to be $8 a month or $6 a month. And if you pay, if you subscribe for a long period, then you have it.
Gotcha.
And she's all into Disney
She's a big
stuff.
Disney fan. Yeah.
And that you see now, $4 a month. Okay, fine. I can also get something else.
But $4 a month, then $8 a month, then $12
Yeah.
on another service, and now
Well,
you're spending $60
yeah,
a month for
yeah.
TV.
Yeah.
So we're back to square one. No, I mean, Amnon, you ask a really good question. So I moved away from home to at this point to about 2.5 years ago, and yeah, my parents had cable. I never paid for it. Being the freeloader that I am, and
It's called being a kid.
Well, yeah. I wish I was still a kid. My parents will pay my cable bill. Maybe I should try that. If I guarantee you, if I called my mother right now and said I wanted cable, she'd buy it. She'd get it for me. I don't know if she's listening this morning. I love you, Mom. So I moved away from home. We had Spectrum, Time Warner Spectrum, and I had a digital TV box. But you're right, Amnon. It was pretty much just sports. So fortunately for football, those games are on your local affiliate, CBS and Fox for Sunday. Sunday night is NBC, and then Thursday night is either Fox or CBS. So if you have an antenna, you can watch one of those games. If you live in the state in which your team plays, you can always watch the team you want. Baseball's a different story. Those games are never on cable. Fox sometimes does some Sunday afternoon baseball, not during football season. You can watch it there from time to time. NASCAR's on TV. Golf's on TV. That's on CBS a lot. But no, you ask, so how do you get that stuff? Unless you're paying for a cable subscription, the answer is you don't. Now, there are plenty of alternatives online. They're not legal, but there's plenty of alternatives online if you're willing to bend the legal and moral I don't know what you'd call
Rules.
it. Well, not rules or laws, but if you're willing to bend your legal and moral, if you're willing to bend the law and then morally you're all right with it, there is plenty of online solutions. One of the big ones is Reddit. I mean, you can go to Reddit and watch anything: UFC fights, NFL games, baseball games, college football, and you could say, "Oh, nobody does it." No, there's hundreds of thousands of people. There's probably millions of people on. Today's Sunday Sunday afternoon. There'll be a whole slew of NFL games coming up here at 1:00. There'll be millions of people illegally streaming NFL games, and you say, "Well, why? Well, why? Well, because DirecTV charges $375 a year for NFL Sunday Ticket, and they've got an exclusive right with the NFL to provide it. So you're paying $350 a year for 16 regular season games, knowing it probably 6 of those games are not even available on DirecTV because they're on your local CBS, Fox, or NBC affiliate. So this
And
gets back to
you can still only see them after they're done, right? Not live.
well, no, NFL Sunday Ticket is with DirecTV. That's live.
But you need, so that's cable. That's not internet.
No, it's not internet. No, that's what I'm saying. So the only way you can watch NFL games, first of all, to have DirecTV, like a base DirecTV package, and then pay $370 for NFL Sunday Ticket. But not every game is available on Sunday Ticket. If it's on one of your local stations in Raleigh, WRAL, well, no, they're NBC. WTV, well, that's ABC. Never mind. If it's on a local CBS or Fox station, it is not available on DirecTV. So you're paying $300 for maybe 11 games. My father used to have that when I was a baby. He used to go out to bars and watch football games. And then when I was born, he started watching them at home. And then as I got older, he canceled it. And then we started going out to restaurants and bars because it was cheaper to go out to and have lunch, 8 times a year than it is to spend $300 a month on DirecTV. So what's the answer? The gals laugh. This piracy. That's the answer. I mean, it really is.
At this point,
there's just not a good solution. Yeah. If you want to cut the cord, and I'm not recommending this, I'm just saying, if you want to cut the cord and watch sports, your answer is piracy. There's not a good solution. That's just the truth. I'm not advocating it. Now, I mean,
right.
And
but
one
that's
thing
the solution.
to say, and one thing to say for piracy in this case, and these are people who are breaking the law, but the reason they're breaking the law is because there is no any alternative that actually makes sense to consume. So, and I believe that is the source of piracy, like throughout history, right? And when we talk about piracy, even in early days with the ships and all of that, right? It's always battling all of the rules that prohibit growth, that prohibit the consumption of the goods in any in any meaningful way. I'm not saying, hey, these are good guys, right? But the reason this exists, hey, the reason there is a black market for marijuana in states where the law is against it, right? Is because people will still consume it and they'll find a way to consume it. So it's the same thing. It's part political statement and it's part crime. It's always that way when it comes to piracy. And now it really depends on who you're siding with. You're siding with the big corporation that already have set the rule, or you're fighting them. Today, digital media content piracy is a very small, like.
Gal, your mic is beginning to mess up.
What is
Keep
going
going.
on with this machine? It's a
Yeah,
brand
it's
new
not-
setup.
Keep going.
It's have issues.
Ooh.
Where did I cut off?
It's what do you, oh, at what point? I was listening to the noise. I don't. There you go. You know, there's a newer service now available out there.
Or
NBC. Did you hear what they call it? NBC. Their NBC has their own streaming.
yeah, they've had that for a while.
They do.
Yeah, it's on the NBC app.
Well, now they have something new. It's called Peacock.
Well, yeah, the name might be different, but they've had a streaming service for a very long time.
Well, what a funny name.
Well, that's their whole
I know,
motto.
but you know.
Proud as a peacock, NBC.
Yeah, it's a Peacock.
Alan says pirate IPTV provides something the onboard providers refuse to provide to anyone at that price. Well, yeah, I mean, of course, if you're stealing the content, your cost of providing the content is in most cases free. If not free, it's very inexpensive. There's some popular IPTV services, pirate IPTV services that are under $25 a month that provide you tens of thousands of television channels from all across the world. Me as a consumer, that's a great deal, but it's unrealistic for me to say, oh, I expect Spectrum to provide me every single cable channel from across the world for $15 a month. That they won't make any money. It's easy for an IPTV provider stealing it to do that.
Why not?
Because the licensing fees don't make sense, Gal. You can't make any money.
No. Look what you're saying. So a pirate today gives it to you for $15. They have a whole setup of hardware. They're fighting taking down of channels that they write, because when a legitimate organization finds out that their streaming is being going to somewhere, they find a way of blocking it, shutting it. So there's this group of people, or one or two people, I don't know, right? I have no idea how
it's a constant battle.
But it's a constant battle on their own, and they're doing it for $15 a month, right? And I'm guessing they're making a profit because, as you said, they're stealing the content. So why would a legitimate system, which costs 3 times that, won't be able to survive? I don't buy that. That's the thing. You're saying the content licenses? Yeah, the content licenses today are way, way, way above what they should be. We're talking about entertainment. We're not talking about life and death. We're talking about just, hey, I just want to sit down and enjoy some content. It used to be books, right? We moved to audio, and from audio we moved to video, and the production value is great. I'm saying, even with the production value today, you take down the margins of the content owners, not even the content producers, because the content producers compared to the distributors are making a lot less, right? Because the distributor is making most of it. That's how you need to tone down the distributor. And that is what piracy is fighting. That's what I feel is happening.
Well, Alan is saying that people in boardrooms seem to decide what those in living rooms can and cannot watch.
Right,
It's
because
interesting.
they're
It's interesting.
because in the boardroom, the only thing that they care about is their profit.
Well, that's what any
And
business cares about.
yeah, but they don't want. But they're talking about margins of thousands of percents, and that's the problem. And that's why you have piracy. The moment somebody makes too much out of your consumption, you're gonna find a way of fighting it.
I mean, agreed, but it is not cable is or no legitimate company is going to be able to provide all of the channels that illegal services provide at the cost. It's just never going to happen. It's not realistic.
Not at the same cost, I agree.
Yeah. So
But-
Hulu TV's trying to do it, and they're doing a pretty good job if you're willing to pay for it. It's not the cheapest thing in the world, but it's a legitimate source. It's $45 a month, and you say, "Whoa, that's outrageous."
No, it's not outrageous. It's the same thing the cable subscription will cost you.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's the same thing, and they provide exactly the same thing. So if they would have provided
Well, it's a lot
something
cheaper.
different, I don't know if it's cheaper.
Yeah, I mean the base Spectrum package I can get because you have to have a box, right? You have to rent the box for $5 a month, is like almost $70 a month. So it's almost it's $20 or $30 cheaper than that. But you're not getting anywhere near the amount of channels. I mean,
Yeah,
a
but
base
how many-
Spectrum package has
how many-
got hundreds of channels.
Most
A basic digital TV package has got hundreds of channels.
I mean, this has been discussed back and forth. Yeah, they give you what 2,000, 3,000 channels,
No, I mean,
but
not
you're
that many.
but you're only watching a handful.
Well, understand, but with Hulu,
So-
you've got a much slimmer selection of channels, and they don't have everything.
No.
I mean, there's not everything on there. There's channels that are not on there.
One of these days, we'll get there.
Yeah, at some point.
919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And here's AT&T after all this. And AT&T is arguing that its customers cannot sue the company for selling location data to bounty hunters, according to recently filed court records. AT&T says the customers sign contracts that force them into arbitration, meaning consumers have to settle complaints privately with the company rather than in court. The filing is in response to a lawsuit filed by the Electronic Frontier Foundation, EFF. The issue circles around mandatory arbitration, that is, forcing consumers to settle complaints privately with the company rather than in court. So they're saying, you can't sue us. We're gonna have to discuss it.
The arbitrage, yeah.
But I mean,
I'm guessing it's funny, but I'm guessing what this will lead to is a court case just to get whether the contract about arbitration is legal or not, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fight. They're trying to protect themselves. I think they will fail at the end.
I know, but
it's still a fight.
But I'm thinking about it. Who goes to court right away? Where did you hear about anybody that say, I don't like it, I'm going to go to court? You always talk with the company. You try to say it, to straighten it out. You call, you discuss, and at the end you say, you know what? You don't want to listen. I'm going to go to court.
Yeah. So what they're talking about is if you involve a lawyer, right? You talked with them. It fell on deaf ear.
Yeah.
Now you decide to involve a lawyer. The lawyer's only recourse is not going to court, is agreeing to arbitrage.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And arbitrage is silent, basically.
Yeah, I mean it's not silent at all, but the public doesn't hear about
exactly.
it.
There's no public. There's no audience. There's no audience.
Right.
Right. So yeah.
Well,
Actually, I would think Electronic Frontier, what they can do is they can bound with some other company and produce a reality show where they track arbitrage discussions with when they go against AT&T, and that this way they will actually create new content, and AT&T will be
Without
about
sounding like an AT&T shill, forced arbitration is a very popular thing that actually a lot of people in their jobs have to sign forced arbitration agreements when they're hired. That's part of your employment contract. And
right.
arbitration, for people that don't know what arbitration is, instead of taking something to a courtroom, you hire an arbiter, which in a lot of cases are either retired judges, current judges, and they are a neutral party that, depending, and some the businesses will argue that the arbiters always side with the employee. The employees will say that the arbiters always side with the company. It's kind of a mixed bag, but it just, I mean, it protects them from every time something happens, a whole bunch of lawsuits popping.
Yeah, well, you need to when you're talking about arbitrary, what needs to be understood is once a decision is made by an arbitrar,
Arbiter, yeah,
it is not, it cannot be contested.
correct.
And
Actually, that's
that is,
not entirely true.
oh, there's always exceptions.
Yeah.
But you sign in advance that whatever decision would come cannot be contested.
Absolutely.
So that is the main difference. That and the fact that there's no audience. It's never public record what went on in the discussions. Those two facts are why corporates like it, because when you're the big one, when you're the big guy with the and you get to control the setting of the outcome, right? Then you benefit from it more than even if you settle and decided to pay for the complaint, right? Even if the suing party, the original instigator of the conversation, gets some sort of severance, it's never going to be public. And so, and that's why those who don't like the idea, but that's why corporates do like the idea, because they get to control the narrative.
Yeah, in some regards. And the other thing too is a lot of employers have part of your employment contract is forced arbitration. Well, we talked about this on Infection Podcast a couple months ago. Blizzard, which is one of the Blizzard Activision, which is one of the largest video game publishers and developers in the world. Everybody that works there has signed an arbitration agreement. That's part of your employment contract. If you don't like it, you just don't work there. I mean, it's as simple as that. And then people tried suing them, couldn't, of course, because that's not the agreement they signed. And then Twitter, of course, who wants to play lawyer from in 250 characters, is talking about how it's a tragedy and all this other stuff. No, that's part of your. I mean, I'm not siding with AT&T, but it's just the fact that that's the agreement. Like it or not, that's the agreement. If you don't like it, don't work there, or don't sign the agreement. Don't use the service. I mean, you can't sign it and then you bitch and complain that it doesn't work. I can't sue them. Oh, this is awful. Oh, they're not treating me fair. It sucks. It's terrible. It's awful. But you sign the agreement. You can't choose. You can't pick and choose what parts of it you do or don't want to agree to or use when it's convenient.
There is one difference though between employment and being a consumer. The major difference, right, is when you're consuming something and there is some wrongdoing, right? The only way to publicize that up until today was court, basically.
Yeah.
Because in court you can discuss you can discuss the wrongdoings and not be charged by defamation, right? So you have that. That's one part. And with arbitration, it means I had a complaint, but no one can. Part of what it ensues is no one can learn about it, right? When you're talking about employment, you are an active party in the place you are going to work in. You're not just consuming something from a company. And that's why I think that in the court of law, there's a chance that that section as a consumer will not hold when you're talking about what do you call it when you have a group of people?
Class action.
A class action, right? So that's why I think fighting it might eventually prove to be very effective as the first step in order to get the complaints into court. But then again, I'm always looking at the underdog, right, in these discussions, because I'm still with them. I'm a consumer of the content as well, and I have the complaint as well. So,
all right, let's switch here. We talked in the past about LastPass. LastPass had a big problem, but the developers of the password manager have patched a vulnerability that made it possible for websites to steal credentials for the last account the user logged into using the Chrome or Opera extension. So what it means is if you went to your bank and used the credentials from your LastPass, and then you went to another website, that second website could have seen what your credentials were for your bank, the last place you used it. The vulnerability was discovered late last month by Google Project Zero researcher Travis Ormandy, who privately reported it to LastPass. In a write-up that became public on Sunday, Ormandy said the flaw stemmed from the way the extension generated pop-up windows. So it's not the like the server or whatever at LastPass, it's the app, the extension that you use on Chrome or Opera. Those extensions are the ones that actually made it possible for this to be a flaw. So apparently they fixed it. That's, when you hear something like this after the fact, what do? You go and you change everything. You can't. You don't know who got it, who didn't get it.
No, the thing is that so the nice thing about a news article like that, right? So let's explain how to react to such a news article. One is the engineer who discovered the vulnerability, right? He was tasked or out of interest, researched the vulnerabilities, the way the software works, reported it to the company. Right? And I'm guessing here, right? The reason they're supporting Chrome and Opera is this person did it on his own, right? He was a Google employee, but he didn't do it as part of his Google job. So he did it out of interest. That's what I'm reading. He's probably using both Chrome and Opera.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why that's where he found. It doesn't actually mean whether they have that in Firefox or not. But it probably is safe to assume that Firefox, because of its a bit different architecture, is still
okay.
The behavior would be a bit different, but it doesn't mean it's out of it. It does mean that the company needs to look at it though after and it doesn't mean that the other password managers don't have that same flaw.
True.
Because what he's talking about things that remain in memory and remain accessible in some capacity, right, to the web page loading code. And so running and replacing your password manager is not necessarily the knee-jerk reaction you need here, right? He wasn't reporting a breach. It was reporting a possibility of individual breaches and not a breach of the service itself, right? So a flaw in the technology. Every month when we update Windows, we're basically allowing Microsoft to fix a flaw, and usually security is part of it, right? There are vulnerabilities reported daily about different, it's called attack vectors, different points of entries to systems. And the major one is the OS. The next one are browsers. One very popular attack vector was Adobe Acrobat, because it was providing content through the web, but was never designed for security because it was designed for people loading files locally on their machine, right? But unlike the split world of browsers, where you might be running Firefox or Chrome, or you might be on a Mac OS or on a Windows OS or on Linux, Adobe Acrobat software was basically on all of these, right? So right now, LastPass is becoming the big guy. It's being targeted.
Yeah.
It's been targeted by the researchers, and it's probably being targeted by the hackers. That doesn't mean it makes it less safer than any of the other ones. It just means just understand what type of risk you're putting yourself into. And when you learn about something new like this, make sure you're using something that has actually been patched, right?
Right, and it has been patched, and they obviously did it real quick.
Yeah. And that shows that the company is actually a trustworthy one, and they reacted. They reacted instead of suing him, right? Because what he did is basically illegal by U.S. law, right? The MCA does not allow hacking. That's the law, right? That's what the law says. So if you provide a solution that is basically breaking any security precautions another company put in place, even if they're flawed and they're just horrible, right? Just the fact that you looked at the log, you are you can be sued on the law. That's why there's an uproar against the MCA since its beginning, right? Because when you're looking at it in engineering speak, if I see something that is flawed, and you, especially if I see a lock and I say, hey, do you know that I can open the lock just by tapping on it twice, right? Just by saying those words and discussing it, I'm breaking the law. That's what it says. And so from the engineer's point of view, just because you make something that is crappy, right, and it's so easy to break, you're going to sue me because I'm mentioning it, right?
Yeah.
That's
Good
the
point.
MCA.
Yeah.
And so here's a company that an engineer who understands what he's doing, he risked, right? He basically risked himself coming to the company and saying, hey, you do know you're vulnerable here, right? So it's like this complete contradiction, and show for once why the law is problematic, but also shows why we still need these engineers. We still need these over curious engineering geeks, right? They need to continue digging. They need to continue thinking like a hacker, and who wants to do malicious things, but eventually do it for good. And
And companies actually pay people to find bugs like these.
I
so
think
it's
Google
weird.
has a bounty, right?
Huh? Yeah.
Google has a yearly bounty.
Yeah. And there was another story about two guys that were arrested for breaking into an office to get records.
Wasn't that Watergate?
No, this was a couple of months ago, but the thing is, they were penetration experts, and they were hired by the company to break in, and what they said was, any way you can, and see if you can get these specific records. So they couldn't get in through the computer, through the network. So they broke into the building. I mean, they told them any way you can. I don't know what was the end of that, but that's an interesting situation there.
That reminds me of something, Amnon.
Yeah.
We were talking to our friend Merle, who's been on the show a couple
Yeah.
times. He had an interesting tech problem, and as we do on the show, just mention it. And if you maybe are having something similar, at his he's the network admin for his church, and over the past couple of weeks, his internet's been
very flaky.
it drops like every minute
Yeah.
and a half, just very unstable, and couldn't figure it out, and spent hours and hours tracing out cables and figuring everything out. And it turns out that one of the unmanaged network switches that he has, somebody had
Bridged
plugged-
two ports.
bridged
Yeah.
two ports together on that unmanned, like just one of those like cheap little neck gear switches or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was what was causing his network issues. Which I mean, I've never plugged. I've never bridged a switch to itself, so I don't know. I've never even thought about that. But if
Somebody probably saw
a loose cable,
RJ11 and say,
Mhm.
"Oh, wait, this needs to be plugged here." They
Yeah.
didn't. They don't follow the cables. Yeah.
So if you're having any weird, and I guess he said it was doing some crazy broadcast issues. It was just splattering the network with whatever. So there's a little tip, something we found out this week. So if you're having some weird network issues, make sure you haven't bridged your switch to itself. It doesn't like that, apparently.
Yeah, and if you're anywhere and you see that the plug is not plugged in, don't just plug it in. Follow it. See where does it go.
Yeah. There you
But it's a situation when you are trying to find bugs and people come and tell you about it, and you sort of like have the options of suing them for that. I mean, they shouldn't even have that right. I agree with you, God. Yep. All right. What?
Well, I guess I'll mention this.
Go ahead.
So I'm starting a new opportunity.
Yep.
I'm going to be transitioning into the IT space here starting next week. So I should have a lot more interesting stories to talk about on the program. Some real world IT issues and solutions to those. So
Yeah, working
We'll,
with a bunch of different customers, not just your own network, could
Yeah.
provide a lot of, and it's a good experience. It's a great experience.
I'll be working with a managed IT company, which provides IT to small and medium sized businesses. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yep.
I know how I'm sure I'll have a lot of interesting things, products, devices, solutions, issues to talk about over the next couple of weeks.
So, Nick,
Mhm.
you installed iOS 13
Yeah, absolutely.
and you're using Siri.
Yeah, I actually used her yesterday a couple times.
Okay. So here's something that they also released with it. It also released a new OS with something else. A bug disclosed 7 days ago
Mhm.
that exposed contact details without requiring a passcode or biometric identification first.
Oh, really?
Independent researchers Jose Rodriguez published a video demonstration of the flaw exactly 1 week ago. It can be exploited by receiving a FaceTime call and then using the voiceover feature from Siri to access the contact list. From there, an unauthorized person could get names, phone numbers, email addresses, and any other information stored in the phone's contact list. An Apple representative told Ars Technica that bypass will be fixed in iOS 13.1, scheduled for release on September 24th.
Yeah, there's bigger issues in the world.
I mean, why would you get a FaceTime call and then go to Siri to access it with voice?
No, but the point would be if you get so, let's say I steal your phone,
Yeah.
right? You have an iPhone, right?
Yeah.
And I want to steal your phone. Well, if
Right.
it's got Touch ID and I don't know the password,
Mhm.
and obviously I don't have your face, well, with you I could hold it up to maybe a video and see what happens. But I want to get I want to steal some information off your phone. Well, one of the ways to do it would be to use an exploit like that. But again, you're talking about only getting access to
Contacts.
contacts.
Yeah.
Not that contacts aren't important, but
It's not like texts and emails
it's
and
contacts.
stuff like that.
Now,
Yeah.
if you can, I have contacts. Maybe I shouldn't say this. I've got contacts for locations that have passwords in them.
Mhm.
Gate codes, things like that for radio sites.
Okay, so this is only if they have the phone.
Correct. Yeah, it's if they have the phone. So I guess the point would be, well, from while most people don't have, and by the way, you'd have to know what contact you were looking for, but you don't just say, hey Siri, show me all my contacts.
Interesting.
Well,
Okay.
she didn't like that, but you have to know what you're looking for. This is a very, and that's why you're seeing Apple releasing it with 13.1, and they're not doing a some crazy early, day zero patch, because it's really not. I don't think it's that big of a deal, in my estimation. I'd have to have your phone physically.
Yeah.
I'd have to
I
FaceTime
understand.
call your phone, and then I'd have to know exactly what I was looking for to steal a contact.
Okay.
I mean, is it an exploit? Yes. Is it an issue?
No,
Yes.
not the
Is
way
it-
that you
but-
explained it now. It makes sense.
But is it a is it a security exploit that is like terrible? No, I don't think so.
No?
That's my 2 cents on it.
I need to give you a cent back.
Well, it's fine. I can handle it.
And if you're using a lot of Wi-Fi around, if you have a lot of Wi-Fi hardware around the house, well, the Wi-Fi Alliance, the organization that oversees the implementation of the Wi-Fi standard, is launching its official WiFi6 certification program. That might sound boring, but it means the Wi-Fi 6 standard is truly ready to go. And tech companies will soon be able to advertise their products, mostly brand new ones, as certified to properly support Wi-Fi 6. So the point of Wi-Fi 6 is to boost speeds within a crowded network. The theoretical maximum speed for Wi-Fi is increasing too. It's going to 9.6 gigabits from 3.5 gigabits. But those numbers don't really matter since you'll never get them at home. What matters is that Wi-Fi 6 has a bunch of tools allowing it to operate faster and deliver more data at once. So the speeds you actually get will be higher than before. Those gains will be most noticeable on crowded networks where the efficiency improvements will make up for the higher Wi-Fi demand. Wi-Fi 6 also mandates a major security improvement. So I don't ever remember getting a router and paying attention what Wi-Fi version it's using.
Well, you're not most people.
Yeah. So something new. But yeah, I mean, if you're talking, this is 9.6 gigabits. Think about it, 9.6 gigabits.
It's a lot
I
of data.
mean, a lot of some people, not a lot. Some people have a gigabit service at home.
Yeah.
So that's why they say you'll never get these speeds at home. But
if you're doing a whole
it's-
bunch of, if you're doing
a whole bunch of Wi-Fi
In-net-
connections,
well,
yeah,
no, not even Wi-Fi connections. I mean, you'd be talking to saturate that. You'd need to be doing high transfer rate data internally. That's where you would saturate that. I mean, this is not for connecting outside the internet. Now, if you're doing high data transfer, you shouldn't be using Wi-Fi anyway.
right.
But maybe that's the only option. So, I mean, that's what that's for.
Yep. But things are improving, changing, and that's good. That's any way you look at it, that's good. Now, I remember us talking about this on Hangouts, and I never really paid much attention. And now I see this article, and I'm think, how come they're even staying up? Ubisoft plans to send cease and desist legal letters to operators of DDoS for hire services, also known as DDoS booters or DDoS stressors. The company said it plans on making this step as part of a global action plan to curb DDoS attacks aimed at Rainbow Six Siege multiplayer servers.
Absolutely. Good luck.
I don't understand if they can send them a letter. I mean, aren't these guys doing an illegal thing? DDoS by itself?
I mean, I don't think a DDoS itself is DDoSing itself is not technically illegal, but what you're doing is you're affecting their business and their services and whatnot. So
Or
that is where
anybody.
well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. DDoSing itself is not illegal, but disrupting somebody else's service maliciously, that's where the illegality is, right? I mean, there's no law against DDoSing, but you can't, that would be like me breaking into your house, right?
Yeah.
It's technically not illegal for me to open your door, right? There's no law against me turning your doorknob. What there is a law against is me trespassing in your house and stealing all your stuff. Right?
Okay.
And that might not be the best analogy to draw, but it's not illegal to come to your house and turn your doorknob. It is illegal to it's technically trespassing.
To force it.
Yeah, but if I break in your house and steal all your things, that's a different story. That would be illegal. And it's the same thing with DDoS. There's no law against DDoS.
I'll give you a better analogy.
Here.
It's not illegal to own guns. It's illegal to shoot them.
Great example.
Okay.
Great example.
I don't know. My gun walked away.
Yeah, it was part of the Democrat Party. Hashtag walk away. Well, yeah, but see, this is interesting. So Siege is super popular. A lot of people are playing Siege. It's doing really well. But I mean, maybe Gal can shed a little insight on this. I don't know what sending a cease and desist to a group of people that are maliciously trying to attack your services.
Oh, they're
really
not.
Do.
They don't know who's attacking their services. What they do know is there are they're using third-party DDoS attacks.
Service,
So
not yeah. They're
yeah,
using
there are those who provide DDoS service.
Yeah.
And they're suing the DDoS service provider, right? Because they probably can't get to whoever is utilizing them.
well.
I don't
There's
know. I'm on the fence on it. I do understand why DDoS service providers exist, but I also or why they claim they exist, but there is nothing, how should I say? This is not a pen testing environment. The fact that they targeted something that whoever used their system couldn't prove that it's their own, right? Shows that they are definitely not innocent.
well. The article goes to say that the French video game company has been under a wave of DDoS attacks ever since last week, when it launched the Operation Ember Rise update for the Rainbow Six Siege game. Along with the update, Ubisoft also performed a reset of multiplayer rankings. Following the reset, multiple players are suspected to have started launching DDoS attacks at the company's servers. So they took their rankings away from them, or they reset it, and those
game
people,
ranking,
yeah,
which has become, by the way, which has started to become standard practice with online gaming. The ranks reset idea. That is so one thing that happens with online gaming, where ranking is involved, is you have newcomers to the game and they have no rank, right? Fighting on playground where there are veterans around, and they already have a very strong build character, and playing one against another is like there's no way of it ever being fair. Not talking about taking away the improvement in skills that the veterans has. They also have perks inside the gaming environment that allows them to utilize more advanced features, more advanced capabilities of whatever the characters are doing. And in a battling arena, right, building rank in such a game is a lot more complex. If you were to play offline, just you against the computer, there is never new interaction, right? So resetting was never like a valid idea there. But now in the online gaming, suddenly the company says, hey, every month we're going to reset the stats. It's still not completely complete reboot of it. There are better implementations, there's worse implementations, but the idea is that even though you've been doing and you've built binding and you've been doing something, there are some aspects that are going to be reset periodically to allow newcomers to the game to join and enjoy the game.
The hell with the newcomers. The OGs should reign supreme forever.
Right, and that's why they DDoS them. Suddenly, somebody took away their toy, and they're pissed off at the world, and they have the means of making the company hurt a bit.
Well, I mean, it's not to hurt the company. They said the cheating players have been using the DDoS attacks to trigger server lag and slow down matches. The goal was to annoy opponents, who in many cases would end up disconnecting and receiving a penalty for leaving the match, allowing the player who launched the DDoS attack to gain rank points undeserved.
That is the greatest thing I've ever heard. Good work, boys. The troll, that is master level. So this is what happened. So I really dislike Gal, right? That's the thing. Gal's a real jerk, and he killed me, and I'm really pissed. So I'm gonna spend my hard-earned money to pay some DDoS for hire service to get him to hate his life. by attacking his games and getting him to disconnect. That is master level trollery. I applaud that exquisitely. Congratulate. Good work, boys. Keep it up. That is the greatest thing I've ever heard. Who wrote that article? That is the best explanation
I
of
don't
why
know.
somebody would DDoS. That's awesome.
Yeah, they
Yep. Somebody is so pissed off at that game that they're willing to shell out
money.
hard-earned cash
Yeah.
to just screw with other people online. That's great. I applaud that. And Ubisoft's stupid for going after these services. This is just going to make them more of a culprit. I mean, it's just it's ridiculous. It's a Barbra Streisand effect. It doesn't work. It never will. And there's really no, you can mitigate. There's DDoS mitigation, but there is no stopping of DDoSing. Not there technically is, but in what they're doing, stopping DDoSing is just not really a thing. So they'll figure it out. DDoSing is very common in online games. Yeah, when somebody's better than you and you can't beat them in skill, you beat them in cash. And that's the name of it. You laugh. That's the name of the game.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like last night, I playing the new Call of Duty beta. I went from level 0. I hit the max level cap last night. I started yesterday morning, level 0, hit level 30 last night. I mean, I'm ready to go. I thought about. I would have DDoS somebody if I could have, but I wasn't showing up cash to do it. Ugh, my blood pressure was through the roof. Ugh.
Oh well. All right.
Gosh, your son tried the Call of Duty beta?
No, he's not that big into Call of Duty.
Well,
right now he's playing Dead by Daylight.
No.
Yeah.
Dead by Daylight's my favorite game.
Oh yeah.
I played that. I have like 300 hours in Dead by Daylight. I play the crap out of Dead by. He's playing the Stranger Things DLC, I'm sure.
No, he's waiting on that. He just bought a bunch of all of the other licensed DLCs. They were on sale.
Yeah.
So he just bought those. He was really frustrated for the last week and a half where the computer was down because the DLC came out and he wanted to see the maps and all of that.
Well, tell him if he ever needs a group to play Dead by Daylight with. We've got a group that we play 7 nights a week. We play for hours every night. Or we did. Now Call of Duty's coming out, so we'll see what happens. I love Dead by Daylight.
There are 6 friends I see in his. How do you see how many hours?
On Steam?
Yeah, I know it. 113 hours.
Damn, he's got a lot of time in there. That's a lot. He's probably better than me. I don't want to play with him. Never mind.
He watches YouTube videos where they talk about tactics and strategy and stuff.
Yeah.
And the other day, especially with the computer down, he went to the living room and casted it to the large TV. So I sat down with him and watched one of these, and he's explaining to me what is going on there over the narration, right? Before the narrator says what he's thinking about, he's like, he's in that game, and I'm looking at this game, and I'm thinking, this is a horrible experience. Why do you put yourself in it again?
Oh, it's great. So it's 4 people, and there's a killer, and your job is to complete 5 generators and open up an escape door and run away. And these killers have special abilities, and it's great. It's a really good game. I very much enjoy. I have 220 hours. I really enjoy Dead by Daylight. That's in-game time. That's a lot of time.
So much time on your hands.
There's a guy in our group that we play with. He's got like 1,500 hours in the game. I mean, it's like a crazy amount of time.
Sheesh.
Hey, what? Good time.
Yeah. All right, let's see what else we have here. Google's Wing drone delivery company announced today that it would be partnering with FedEx and Walgreens to bring autonomous drone deliveries to the U.S. in October. The pilot program will be launched in Christiansburg, Virginia, one of the 2 areas in the state that Wing has been testing its drone technology for years. I mean, we keep seeing all kind of stories about, oh yeah, it's the Amazon going to deliver with drones and food is going to be delivered with drones. And never really, I don't think it ever materialized. We'll see what happens with this here.
Oh, I've got something.
Do you remember? Yeah, go ahead.
So you remember how I'm always talking about how I can't buy things from Amazon anymore because it's such a pain to get
Yeah.
things delivered here at the apartment complex?
Right.
So yesterday, my grandmother, or Friday, so my grandmother sent me a package. I had to go to the front office to pick it up, and as I was walking, there was some guys. They were pouring a concrete pad, and I asked them what they were doing, and they said they were installing a locker system. I didn't know what they were talking about, so I went back the next day, and I'll see if I can share my screen here. And lo and behold, they
Oh,
put in an Amazon locker hub in front of my apartment complex. So now Amazon will deliver things there. I'll get a code sent to my phone, and I can go in there any time of the day and punch in my code, and a door will open, and I'll be able to pick up my products. I'm so stoked for this. I'm gonna finally be able to use Amazon again. I'm very excited.
interesting.
Yeah, so the problem was, obviously, my work schedule's all over the place, and the main office here closes at 5:30. So if I got home after 5:30, I'd have to wait until the next day to get my package or whatever was delivered. So I'm pretty excited for that.
But what's very interesting here is that I'm guessing Amazon is shelling out the cash for these.
No,
Sure.
actually not.
Really?
No, you want to say the apartment
I was
building?
reading. It says the cost is about $15,000 to $20,000 upfront with no further future monthly fees.
Yeah, but who
So
is
the
putting that?
apartment.
Yep.
Wow, that probably allows them to appreciate the property, though.
I don't know what it'll let them do, but I'll tell you what, it makes me as a tenant.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You as a tenant, if somebody is looking at a new apartment complex,
Mhm.
and they come across an apartment complex that has this,
100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a plus.
I would absolutely. I would pay more money per month to live in a place that had this, and I documented this painstakingly over the last 2.5 years. It is such a pain in the ass to get things delivered to here because of the limited office hours that I just stopped using online services and started buying things locally, almost exclusively locally.
Well, at least you didn't move out of the apartment.
Well, I'm moving in 6 months, so it's not. It does. They're finally putting this thing in place, and I'm moving, which is the story of my life. But I'll tell you what, though, when I'm looking for my next place to live, I'm gonna find a place that's got either something like this or some sort of uh,
Or if the
20
office is open longer hours.
24, some type of 24-hour access.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now, you don't have to be living in the apartment complex to get to that, right?
I do. Well, you don't, but I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think it's going to be a location that anybody can have something delivered to. I think this is just for this property. I don't think because you're right, you can go to Amazon and get things delivered to Whole Foods. I don't think it's going to be like that. I could be wrong. But I was reading about this. It's called Hub. That's the name of it, and it's for apartment complexes. So I think it's just for, and it's huge. I'll take a picture of it. I'll take a picture of it. It's got to be 8 bays, maybe like server racks, like 8 server racks, and then there's a little touch screen, like ATM looking screen. So,
yeah, like the ones you see in amusement parks, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So if the
yeah.
power is out, you don't get your package.
No, I'm sure it's got a battery, but well, hey, you know what? The office is going to be closed anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So this looks great. And to be clear, this is not just for Amazon package. This is for any package delivery to the apartment complex, right? This is not just for Amazon.
Okay.
Anything that gets delivered by UPS, FedEx, or the Postal Service that is larger than will fit in my little cubbyhole mailbox will go into this hub, and they said that I'll get a text message like I do now, that instead of having a, come pick it up at the main office, it will have I guess, a 4-digit code or something that allows me to unlock a locker. When this thing is set up, I'm going to order something and see what it's like.
A big box.
Yeah,
So-
I'll order something that's cheap, that's large. I don't know what I could. Well, yeah, I don't know. What could I order?
Anything you can return afterwards. I wonder
No,
if you can use that.
I'm sure I need something. I'll find
I
something.
wonder if you can use that for returns as well.
Oh, that'd be really interesting. Yeah.
Mhm. But yeah, now I see the appeal of why an apartment complex like this will buy it. If it's not just for Amazon, it's for like providing additional services to the tenants. Yeah.
Well, and also the other thing too is the main office, they renovated it they built a new building like last year for the main office. It's got a gym and a little lounge and whatever in it. But every time you go in there, it's just a clutter of boxes because there's a couple hundred people that live in there's like 9 or 10 buildings in this complex, 3 floors apiece. There's a lot of people that live here. And every time you go in there, there's a line of people trying to get packages. There's boxes laying everywhere. And they're essentially paying their employees to sit there and pick up boxes and then key them into a system. And it's inconvenient. Way inconvenient. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited about that.
Where else can you, in general, have Amazon deliver? I know where you can drop stuff to send back, UPS store and Kohl's and stuff like that. But if you wanted to have something delivered and you live in an apartment and there is no such thing, can you have Whole Foods?
Yeah, that's where you'd have it delivered. Because I have to go. I'm actually going into my Amazon right now. So, for example, the main office here was closed on Sunday.
Mhm.
So inside of Amazon, I selected my address and said, "Do not deliver on Sunday," because they wouldn't deliver it. It would sit on a truck and it would never come.
Mhm.
So now I can go in and change that, and now they can deliver stuff anytime, any place. And
So,
good to
what is there a Whole Foods around you?
there is, but I mean,
So you
don't know.
never took advantage of
No,
that.
'cause that's why I just go and buy it at a store.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so inconvenient.
Okay.
I mean, right, that was the whole accuracy package there. It just defeated the whole purpose of it, right? I mean, you order something on Amazon so you can go on the website, pay for it, one click, and then it just shows up at your house. Now I've got to coordinate what time I get home from work. I've got to try to beat
Yeah.
the traffic to get home so I can run to the office. I mean, I'll just go to Walmart or Best Buy or somewhere else. It made no sense. Or if I had to go all the way to Whole Foods, I might as well just buy it locally. There's no benefit.
Right.
So I'm pretty excited. And of course I'm moving. That's gonna, it's a shot across the bow, but pretty neat. Apparently this is a new thing.
919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. Yeah, there'll be more and more of these things because
Well, what it's really gonna do is I'm with the apartment complex I'm with is like a group. It's a residential partner group. So they've got apartment complexes all over the southeastern half of the United States. Where I'm looking to move, I'm gonna absolutely try to find an apartment managed by these same people. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you
Yeah.
think these apartments don't give a damn about you as the you as a tenant, and it's nice to see something like that go on.
Well, like you said, I mean, that's gonna if you say, "Hey, we have a hub," that's a plus. That's
It
people saying,
absolutely
"Oh
is a
yeah, let's move over there." So
I mean,
they care about their income.
when I was living home, I didn't think twice. I ordered stuff. I had an Amazon packages coming 3 days a week,
Mm-hmm.
and now I don't order anything. Yep, I'm looking now. They've got a whole bunch of apartments where that's perfect. Excellent.
Here's in a yet another instance of Android adware. New Zealand-based independent security researcher Andy Michael found 4 apps with cumulative downloads of over 500 million that not only served ads while running the background, but are also placed outside the apps, including the home screen. The apps in questions are Hotspot VPN, Free VPN Master, Secure VPN, and Security Master by Cheetah Mobile. It's notable that all these apps originated from Hong Kong and China, where citizens have typically relied on VPNs to get around the Great Firewall. So if you use any of these, Hotspot VPN, Free VPN Master, Secure VPN, or Security Master by Cheetah Mobile, you may want to look into changing. And what?
Speaking about adware,
Yeah.
a few months ago I mentioned somebody mentioned Pi-hole, and then I said I'll test it and implement it, and I have. Wasn't actually painful. I don't know why I pushed it so long, and I can say it was a very simple installation compared to what I feared, and it is something that I would definitely recommend people take it for a spin. What it requires from people is either some understanding on how to run a virtual machine, or the easiest way would be to shell out a few bucks and buy a Raspberry Pi. And the instructions on how to install it are really, really simple. You just copy something over to an SD card, you plug it into the Raspberry Pi, and you fired it up. You can connect it via an Ethernet port or Wi-Fi. There's instructions on how to do that as well. Rather simple. If you know how to use a text editor, then you can do Wi-Fi. If you feel uncomfortable with that, plugging it to your router should be enough. There's instructions on how to configure it, because there's a value on your router that you need to change. The DNS server is going to be your internal Pi-hole, and it makes every device on your network basically block very basic ads. But it suddenly your Fire TV, for example, right, will contain a lot less ads in its content, because most of the ads are blocked. I think it does not block ads on YouTube because of the way YouTube uses. They don't use a separate DNS name for YouTube ads, but it blocks really, really large amount of them. So if and on top of that, it allows you to create restrictions. Let's say you want to block porn sites inside your home because you have kids. They provide the list of these, and it blocks most of the content. So it's very effective. Yeah,
Censorship.
Really, yeah, but self-controlled censorship. Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
calling you are Big Brother.
Well, I think everybody needs to be their own big brother.
Absolutely.
I don't think I would hate to be limited, right? But the fact that I can limit myself or limit my home, yes, definitely.
Absolutely.
All right.
Giving people a lot more control is so important. So, and this is a fine example. There's actually, other than Pi-hole, there is another one called AdGuard, which AdGuard server, which does a similar thing. So yeah, check it out. If you feel adventurous and haven't figured out what to do with the Raspberry Pi that you bought to tinker with, definitely check out Pi-hole.
Pi-hole.
Mhm.
All right. Here's something that we talked about before, and a lot of people talk about, but it needs to be driven in again and again. 2 individuals were arrested this past week in connection with a fraud scheme that manipulated thousands of victims into paying for invented tech services that they didn't need. The Department of Justice announced that the 2 individuals, 35 and 33, were arrested Wednesday for their alleged participation in the fraud scheme, which involved convincing victims, many of whom were elderly, in both the US and Canada, that they need tech and virus protection services that were neither real nor required. Between March 2015 and December 2018, both of these guys were allegedly involved with the fraud ring responsible for the crimes. According to unsealed indictment, the scheme involved targeting victims with pop-up windows, sometimes under the guise of being a legitimate tech company, that claimed their computer had been infected with a virus and directed them to call a number for technical support. We saw these, we see these, we will see these all the time. That it comes up and it says, oh, your computer is infected, you need to call this number. Never, ever, ever follow these instructions. You need to know what antivirus you have running on your machine. And in that window, it'll say which program is giving you this pop-up. If it's coming from that, even then, they will not ask you to call them. It doesn't happen. And nobody is sitting at Microsoft and monitoring your computer to see that there are problems with it. So, in some cases, the message threatened that if the individual closed the window or shut down their computer, it would either bork their device or result in a complete data loss. Another bunch of bull. Once users contacted the number, they were connected with a fake technician to convince victim to hand over money after receiving permission from the victim. The fraud ring allegedly remotely accessed the individual computer, loaded an antivirus tool that's available for free online, and informed the individual that their computer was infected with a virus, which again was a lie. The DOJ says the scheme was able to successfully scam at least 7,500 victims out of a combined $10 million. There's money in it. That's why they're doing it. And people need to understand. Run a antivirus and you don't need to call anybody because nobody will ask you to call them. It doesn't happen. Go ahead, Gal.
So I'm with you. The real problem is the person that they're talking with, these alleged technicians,
Mhm.
They don't understand technology.
Of course not.
So I would venture, right? And we're sitting here and we're saying it's a bunch of bull, but they don't. We're not there next to them to tell them it's a bunch of bull,
Right.
when they're being attacked. So what I would recommend, right, is okay, you're getting a message that you do not understand. You were hearing all over the news, you're hearing about hacks and breaches and
Mhm.
security threats, and you have no idea if there's anything legitimate about the message. The rule is you do not react to the message the way the message wants you to.
Correct.
Okay. What you can do. I mean, if you know an Amnon or a Gal or a Nick or a Mike, you call them and you ask them about it. And trust me, we're the type of people, right, who
Is it,
would
sir?
rather you call us, right, and tell us about it because we care that our friends won't be hurt by this thing. If you don't have anyone in your peer group like that, call your service provider, the one that provides
Right.
service. Yeah, you'll stay online, in line on the phone, and yeah, they have crappy service, but they will be able to tell you very quickly whether this is a real thing or not. Right? Your internet service provider. Is this true? Should I pass it? Trust me. They would tell you, ma'am, sir, this is a hoax. They might not be able to tell you how to clean this up or what exactly happens, but one of the things they will recommend is first to reboot the computer. And if you're not infected by anything, and usually that's the case, because they don't have the ability, the browsers that are designed today do not allow software to be installed automatically. This is not 1999 and not 2005. We're way ahead security wise with the software you're running on your computer and your mobile phone. So you're a lot safer than you think. Okay.
Right.
Contact somebody technical and ask them about it. Somebody that you initiated the discussion with, not reacted to an alarm. Okay. Remember, you didn't set up the alarm. You've never given permission of somebody to monitor you, right? Monitor your systems. And so a message that comes out of the blue doesn't mean you need to react to it the way they want to. That's what I can say about it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that's why I'm saying we need to talk about it again and again
Yeah.
and again because we have new listeners and
Yeah.
they need to know about it. And I like that. You never follow what the message is telling you to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Even if they say they have your bank account number and the numbers even look right, you stop.
Yep.
You don't react to it the way they want you to, because that's the trap.
Yep. And the same thing with emails. When you get, oh, we have your password. Here it is. That's one scam that's still running.
Yeah, and it's very effective because they see their password plastered.
Right.
Because there was a breach somewhere and their password is out there.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got one this week.
Wow.
It was what?
You
Yeah,
came
it's suddenly
in.
blasted.
You were really like,
Can you hear me now?
no, now it's okay.
I got an email this week from, I think it was Wells Fargo. I don't
Mhm.
have Wells Fargo. Let me see if I can find. Yeah, I don't remember where it was. Nevertheless, it was a
Yeah.
Wells Fargo page, and I went to it obviously, and it was like some scam.free web host, whatever the address was. But I
Mhm.
compared it to the Wells Fargo website, and it was pretty close. I mean, if I wasn't paying it, I mean, if I had Wells Fargo and didn't know what I was doing, I very easily could have entered my
Yep.
username and password there. It was pretty good.
Yeah,
It was a pretty good scam.
they go and they capture the website or the homepage at least, and they capture all the images that are on it. And in many cases, they actually reference the images from the original website. But it looks real. You always have to pay attention to the address.
Yeah, so here it was. It was no, that one's not working. Yeah, it was an account verification email I got.
Yeah.
Yeah, here it is. It was What does it say? It says, "Dear my email address, this message is in regards to your account. About account verification is required. To restore your account, click here."
Yeah, and what happens is you'll go there
Yeah, it looked good.
and
Like a legit website.
yep, and you put your username and password. Again, nobody would ever ask you to do that. The only thing that you need to verify or confirm at any time will be your email address. When you register somewhere, they want to make sure that it's you and that not somebody did something to send junk your way. Nobody would ever ask you to confirm your
Oh, but see,
password.
let's be clear. What this was just regular. What looked like the regular Wells Fargo homepage.
Yeah.
And it just had it had the regular sign-in box on the left side.
Right.
Right. So this wasn't like big, scary ask for your password page. This
Yep.
was just a regular sign-in.
But
I
if-
did
but
actually put in sign-in information, and it didn't do anything.
but you
I
paid
put it-
attention to the address.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
And I put something in to see what it would do. It didn't.
Right.
It just was a redirect loop. So it
Yeah.
didn't work.
This is just to put it in terms that non-techs would accept more. If you all remember, there used to be a scam for banks where there's a renovation in the front, right? There'll be they would sometimes put an external ATM, but sometimes not. Hackers, frauds, the con would be to put an ATM at the front of a bank building being done some work on, and people will go there and the ATM wouldn't work, right? Would just take their card, and that's after they punched in the pin like 2 or 3 times. So they had all of the information. This is exactly the same thing, just is a lot easier because it doesn't require somebody to buy an old ATM machine and build something that can be moved.
Yeah.
But that scam would have usually worked. They would put it for 24 hours. They would get a bunch of cards and they would empty the accounts later.
That's a pretty good scam.
Yeah, you need to be on your guard. You always need to be on your guard.
Lots of scumbags in the world.
Yep. Scam bag. Scam.
Scam and scumbag.
And-
Same
yeah.
difference. Synonymous terms.
All right. And Facebook, we have time. Facebook revealed Friday that it has suspended tens of thousands of apps that may have mishandled users' personal data alternative source. I don't understand where Facebook comes up with tens of thousands of apps of their own that they can suspend.
Not their own, third party. So Facebook has an API where you can use Facebook and data from Facebook about their users, right? And to integrate into your software. And this way, you don't need to manage logins, for example, right? You just you either have access through Facebook or not. But it
Oh.
and when you accept this connection between the app and Facebook, when you have the button login with Facebook, for example, right? There's an exchange of information between Facebook and the application, and you allow there's a list of permissions that you are asked whether you're going to allow it or not, and these can be very wide or very narrow. There's some that the application developer can mark as non-optional, and so I don't know why this is triggering now, but this has been an issue with Facebook for ages since they started becoming popular.
Yeah, the thing here, the article says that is part of an investigation sparked by the social giant entanglement with Cambridge Analytica. The suspensions, far more than the hundreds against which Facebook has taken action against in the past, occurred for a variety of reasons, they said in a blog post, without elaborating, which is good. You don't need to elaborate. Because
Yeah.
then people will figure out, okay, that we can't do this and we can't do this, we can't do this, and let's stick with this. They were associated with about 400 developers. They said Facebook said that they investigated millions of apps and targeted those that Facebook said had access to large amounts of information or had the potential to abuse its policies.
Right. So just a note of that: if people do, our listeners, right? If they do use sign in with Facebook, and it's fine. I mean, I'm not totally against it. I don't use it for my own reasons, but
Yeah.
Do understand when you use sign in with Facebook, when a page has sign in with Facebook first, even if you've never signed to that spot with Facebook, but you have logged in with that browser to Facebook, Facebook knows you visited this site.
Right.
Okay. So that's number one. That's data Facebook knows about you. I'm not necessarily talking about what they share with the world, but what Facebook knows about you. So any page you see sign in with Facebook, Facebook knows you are visiting that place. That's number one. Number two, if you are signing in to that place with Facebook, you're basically telling the site, you're giving the site permissions to access your data in Facebook. Not everything. There's a very limited list of what you're allowing, but you allow it once. And every time you enter the site, usually that's when things update. That site can get that information about you. Usually it's just your name and your email, sometimes the age. Those are the very common one. And Facebook here, what the news article is saying is they've targeted applications where they request a lot of access, like access to your photos, access to the groups you're part of, access to a lot of other information. Most of the time, when it's not just your name, age, and email are mandatory for the connection, and all the rest are usually marked as optional. So when you allow it, you usually have the option of saying no. One thing I can recommend, never disregard that page. Always look at it and scrutinize the details. And decide, do you want to use this or not? You can always register by email. And when you're registering by email, it means you need to remember the username and password that you provided, which is usually your email and a password, right? But you at least have a lot more control of what you're giving back. The fact that you're giving them an email, that is the only piece of your identity that you're sharing with them. So just understand what it means that you see the button, sign in with Facebook, and what it means when you click it. When you click it, you're sharing not only the information with Facebook, but with the site. So you're giving permission to the site to access some information of yours from Facebook.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, the scene today when it comes to privacy and the regard for privacy is ridiculous, and things need to change. But I don't see how. I think we are going to be like less and less common. The people who still follow the tech and understand how the tech works, and we're getting to be overrun by the tech companies themselves who are greedy right now with this. I don't know how it's going to change and when.
And the same rule goes, I mean, whenever you see login with Facebook, it'll also probably say or give you Twitter, that you can log in with Twitter, and there's a third one I can't remember.
Yeah, so Twitter is Twitter is actually something I would go with, because in Twitter, first of all, the amount of information you reveal about yourself is
less,
is a lot less. And I do use Twitter logins, even though I don't use the Twitter service so much, right? So if it's a service you use less, I would use it as a login service because it's very convenient to have one entry point where you can control and remember just a single password, for example, right?
Right.
Especially if that service is not something that you are actively using, right? So I have a Twitter account that I use for common logins, but if I actually want to read through Twitter, or which I do very rarely, I actually have another account for that. So I have two accounts because it makes it very convenient.
Okay.
So if you don't use Facebook, go ahead, use sign in as Facebook, right? Make sure that account doesn't have any links to friends. Make sure that account is barren. And then you can use that convenience. That's great. Use Facebook as your, instead of a password manager. Not too bad. I wouldn't use it on very important sites, right? Where you do a lot of activity.
Important sites will not ask you, will not give you
exactly.
Yeah.
So social sites, it's not
Yeah.
it's not like a bad thing, but just understand that that account is being profiled.
Right.
Data is being collected about. So yeah.
All right. It's that time of day. Anything else? Nick, Gal, anything else you want to add?
Nope, all good.
All right. Well, thanks, Gal. Thanks, Nick. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thanks, everybody, for tuning into Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing, back up your hard drive, and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Tonight at 9, Mike Phillips hosts the Crypto Culture Show on Wilmington Big Talker 106.7 FM. And you can listen on TuneIn. See you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.